Hello and welcome back to the quarterfinals of the Magnus Carlsen Invitational, and we are continuing with Wesley So against Alireza Firouzja. So if you remember yesterday, Wesley So had a very dominant performance and, well, to some extent just wiped the Alireza off the board. So now it's actually absolutely, Alireza absolutely has to fight back. And actually the results so far are still not favoring him, because Wesley So was already I think the second game Wesley So won again, and at this point we are at the third game, so Wesley is already up a point. So that means that Firouzja needs to not only win this game but also win the next one to even force a tiebreak. So let's see what happens in the game. So Alireza with the white pieces, absolute must win. He starts with d4. He actually previously played e4 more. Knight f6, knight c3. So Alireza wants to play something very offbeat. Comes d5, bishop f4, a6, e3, e6, and also Alireza has to be like ultra aggressive. He absolutely needs to create some chances. So he plays the move g4. But this is actually still somewhat non-theory. So now comes bishop b4, knight e2 to protect that guy, castle a3, bishop goes back, and now comes g5. Knight h5, h4. So up to this point, I'm pretty sure it was known by both players. However, at some point, Wesley is going to run out of his book, and that is after c5 and bishop d3. And so Alireza is still blitzing the moves out. However, Wesley starts thinking. And after bishop d3, now comes c4. Now, if you have to go back, then black is just going to very quickly get the counterplay, so you can't do that. So the whole point of this thing is that you are sacrificing immediately a bishop. Bishop takes h7, king h7, queen h5, king g8. And so seemingly there is absolutely no dominance on the king side for the white, because there's only just one queen and one knight that's not very clear how to attack with. However, there will be quite some long-term stuff going on. So first, white starts with move g6, breaking open the king position, obviously threatening checkmate, so the only way is to take here, and now the knight jumps in. And if you want, you can think about moves here, how to defend, but actually the position is very dangerous. Even though it seems like there's just these two pieces, it's very fast how white can create checkmate here. So Wesley, after some thinking, did play the best move. Actually, clearly the best move is rook f5. But for example, if you are careless, you start with, say, queen e8, you are getting checkmated actually very fast. So if you want, you can stop the video, because there's a very nice checkmate here. So firstly you start like this, then you give one more check, and here comes a beautiful move. So you can stop the video, or you can go on and I'll show you. So the thing is that actually this king is now completely dominated by the knight. These squares are covered. This square is covered by the pawn. So all you need is basically one more check. And after rook h3, you don't even have to care about your queen, because if they take, then there is rook f3 checkmate. So that's a beautiful line. But of course, Wesley did not fall for this one. He played the move here, rook f5, which is far the best move. The whole point is that after queen h8 check, king f7, now comes queen h7. You're obviously keeping queens on the board when you're attacking, and of course on a piece. And now black has actually quite some trouble developing and doing stuff. So first of all, white is actually quite quick. He wants to play rook g1, maybe 9 jump either way, and then you are immediately the g7 pawn. And the whole point is that you cannot force queen trade immediately. I mean, you do force with this move the queen trade, because you have to take, but the whole problem is that after knight e7 there's a bishop taking, and actually there's going to be a fork again, and this bishop is hanging, so you are completely losing with black. So your queen g8 is not possible, so you have to defend otherwise. Here, as in the computer, move is knight c6. However, as I told you, Wesley was out of book already. They played the move bishop f6. Actually a very logical move. Now you do threaten to play queen g8. And white needs to act very quickly. And Alireza did find the best way here. He knows that he has to open up the center now. So he comes with e4, attacking the rookie. And after d takes e4 comes a very unnatural move, but you actually still have to defend against queen g8. So now comes a knight h8 check. This is basically to avoid that black gets to play queen g8. And now the king runs. And again, a very nice move. So this pawn you would like to take, but this one is also hanging. So first you castle long, and then this pawn is going to be taken by the rook, sorry, by the knight, and then the knight can also join the party. So now black finally develops with knight e7, and after knight e4, now comes knight f8, hitting the queen. The only move is queen g8, but this is actually threatening checkmate in 1. And here, according to the computer, the best way is to run. And well, as chess players really hate this, the computer says 0, 0, 0. But of course, if you look at the position, this is completely a complete mess, and anything can happen. However, Wesley played move queen e8. And here actually white has a very strong continuation, super counterintuitive. But the thing is that Alireza clearly prepared this line. So to be honest, I was a bit surprised that he did not find the best move here. So again, if you want, you can stop the video, but this is an incredibly hard move, so unless the computer told you that this is a plan, it's very unlikely that you can find it. And even at the level of Alireza, if this wasn't the preparation, I mean, this is impossible to find. But the thing is that Alireza did prepare this line, so I think he must have been familiar with the idea. So the beautiful move here is super counterintuitive, is that you have this fantastic knight, but you can actually give it up for the bishop. And the point is that now you have to take with the pawn, otherwise the king would take this pawn, and then you are in trouble. So you have to take with the pawn. And the whole point now that you give a check, the king again has to run away. You probably give one more check, and after king c6, you have this h pawn that's just super quick. And the computer says actually, well, a sizable advantage for black, like +1 or so. Because this pawn is just not possible to stop. You will, at the very least, have to sacrifice your knight, and then after sort of material equality, the problem of the black king still remains. So this would have been the best way to continue, and it actually does give white a lot of advantage. However, Alireza played the move h5 in this position, so not taking on f6, but playing the move h5. And the whole point is that after knight d7, he has this move knight g6 check. But the thing is that after king d8, the problem is still there, so you have to do something with your queen. And again, here the best move is already not very human. Here the best move is to take on f6. That way you protect the queen for the time being. And when the black knight takes back, you can actually take this pawn, and then the position is actually again, it's quite good for white, because after knight h5, queen h6, now it's very clear that black is very undeveloped, and there will be some attacks. After knight f6 comes knight h4, for example. Already these pieces are actually very clumsy, so black is in quite some danger. So probably to knight f6, actually you have to take with the pawn, and then the complications go on. It's not very clear. Then yeah, so this is less expected to find this knight takes f6 is a very counterintuitive move again. But here, with your queen already being under attack, it's a very computerish move. The other way, once you don't see a knight f6, the other only way to continue is you actually exchange the queens, but you have this knight d6 check, winning an exchange. So the players actually reach this position with only like a few minutes left for both. And the thing is that Alireza needs to win this ending, but he's actually not doing any better here. So white has a rook and a pawn for the two minor pieces, actually for the bishop pair, which is very strong. Also, black is still a bit undeveloped. However, you cannot immediately open up the position with h6. It would be a very desirable move. The problem is it runs into bishop g5 check, and then the pawn can be picked up. So white needs to play a move like f4 first, and now you want to play h6, but you actually don't have enough time for this, because now comes a5, and the rook is going to protect stuff from the 6th rank, and basically black is developed. Comes d5, rook a6, and it's very clear that Alireza has absolutely no advantage. Actually, it is black who is doing better. And Alireza still tries, and he's very well known to create chances, so he will still create some sort of chance for himself. So now comes knight c5, knight e5. The problem is that black is gonna jump to e4, and the black knight is gonna be a unicorn, I would say. So super good piece. Bishop d7. The rook comes back here. King c7. There's one more pawn taken, but this pawn is actually completely irrelevant. But now the black knight arrives. There will be b5 kicking out this one, and then yeah, the black bishop pair is just going to be way too strong. Now black moves back, king d6, very good piece to blockade the pawn. And now while white needs to do something, Alireza does sacrifice a pawn with h6, with the idea that now finally his rook can come to the 6th rank and create some sort of counterplay there. Now Wesley pushes the pawn, comes rook h6, bishop e8. Now rook h7, trying to get something along this line, but now just comes b5. And Alireza plays move a4, with the idea of trying to go for some knight c4 check later on, once this pawn is eliminated. But now comes knight f2. And well, here you cannot just remove your rook because then black removes and then like to take the pawn. So here comes a trick from Alireza, the super tricky guy, plays move rook h6. So first of all, very nice move, you are attacking the whole 6th rank. If you were to take here, then of course you are losing a lot of stuff here and your rook is also gone, so you can't do this one. Black needs to play move king c5, protecting from here. But now there comes the other very nice move. So actually, if you want, you can stop the video here because it's a very nice and very schematic move how to sort of try to disbalance the defenders. So here, so obviously the 6th rank is the key now, and white tries to move d6, and the point is that now you are cutting off this rook, so there is no protection towards this bishop, and also you have a pawn to push. So if black takes here, then white continues with d7, and after bishop d7 there comes knight takes d7, and also this guy is gonna fall. It is still very complicated and the computer still says 0, 0, 0, but in this case actually white does manage to create something out of nothing. So for that reason actually to d6, the better way to react is first giving up your bishop, because that would have been taken anyway, so why not taking a knight with it? And once white takes back, that's the way the game went. Now comes knight d1. And the whole point is, what Alireza had in mind, is built on this trick of d7. Of course, the point is that, again, you are attacking here, but more importantly, you want to make a queen. And so obviously you can't take the rook. The first move that would come to mind would be bishop takes d7, and after rook takes a6, now your knight is hanging, and if you go back, now comes e6, and actually white is doing fine here. Not fine, actually better, because this e-pawn is not possible to stop. The bishop needs to be sacrificed for it, and then the ending is again a mess, but actually here the computer does say that white has winning chances, actually quite good ones. So this move is actually not playable, so here d7, you have to make a better move, and Wesley, with only seconds on his clock, he actually does find a move, and this is going to steal the match for him. The move is very simple, just move your rook back. And actually this is enough, because if you take this guy, then there will be just a completely dry rook ending. You know, start taking pawns. I don't know where you start actually, but the point is that there's not enough for white to win this. This is completely drawn. And the move that Alireza played is rook h8, pinning the on the 8th rank now. But now you can actually take this guy, take and come back, and now you don't have e6 anymore. In the previous line, the rook was on a6. You could push, and then the pawn was protected. It's not the case anymore, and now black is in time to just set up the defense. The rook a6, now comes knight c4, e7, bishop e8, and the knight is gonna go back to protect the guys. And white's problem is that these guys are gonna be queens in a second. And while Alireza did play some moves, but this is not important anymore. He's no sense of winning, and he's somewhere even, yeah, taking the pawn was a huge mistake because this guy is now a queen. So yeah, this was the game between the match between actually Wesley and Alireza. Actually a very convincing victory for Wesley, but the games were super complicated in the style of Firouzja. However, this time it did not give any fruits to him. Actually, if we look at the final results, I think he made there was 2 draws and maybe 4 Wesley victories, so that's incredibly dominant performance. All matches or all days actually meant to be for 4 games, but it was always decided after just 3. and actually after 3 Wesley always had 2.5, so that's quite a convincing victory. So it's clear that now Wesley goes to the semi-final. He's going to face the winner of Anish Giri against Vasil Lagrave. Actually, Anish does lead that match, so it's most likely that he's going to be the opponent. And on the other side, Magnus Carlsen continued his domination against Levon Aronian, and the last game was actually quite tricky. Aronian had a chance to win that one, but that would have only equalized the score, and then even in that case, Aronian was still in a must-win situation with the black pieces to even force a tiebreak. But actually, Aronian did blow the chances of winning the game 3, so Carlsen also qualified just playing 3 games twice. And the last one was Nepomniachtchi, actually won quite convincingly against Nakamura. So as for the semifinals, we have Magnus Carlsen against Jan Nepomniachtchi, and then Wesley So against either MBL or Giri, but most likely Giri. So see you tomorrow with the coverage of the semifinal.